This is Bighorn 2018 Facility Plan Meeting with School Facilities Division of the State Construction Department. And we will.
Amber Leach, Planning.
I'm Charlie Kaufman, Planning.
Troy Decker, Planning.
All right, go ahead, District.
Rick Woodford, Superintendent of Bighorn County number 2.
Jason Jolly, Facilities.
Perfect. And Brandon, you don't know if he's joining us? Okay, you will not join us. Okay. I don't know if you will. I guess I'll highlight it for now. And then Paul's not here. And then John doesn't determine right now, so I'll just highlight him. Very good. So thank you guys for all the work you did to put in to get ready for this meeting. And so what we'll do here is the first couple parts, we're just going to go right on through unless you guys have any questions or any comments, and we'll go from there. So tracks and deeds, really quick, did want to talk a little bit about this. We did that piece of land purchase next year elementary school, have it highlighted here. So purchase that next with district funds, correct?
Yes.
And I need to make sure I updated that total. I think I did. I don't know if I put the update on this one though. So I need to make sure I update that acreage for the elementary school site.
SFD.
Yep.
They report down on the form.
Hey, Jason, did you get that AIM update form in for that one?
I believe so, but I'll double check.
Okay.
I know I filled one out, so.
Okay. Okay, perfect. I just want to make sure we captured that really quick. And so what are you guys going to end up doing with that piece of land?
Well, we actually bought it for safety reasons because any kid that tries to go out of our front door and walk north, you can see there used to be a driveway right there, and those people that own that home, they would pull those cars out there, and it was a real risk for kids getting hit. Plus, we had to send kids across the bus loop there in order to head north on the sidewalk. So this way, we'll have a sidewalk that'll go north out of the main entrance and route kids around the bus loop. And then over there where that property is, so there will be a sidewalk, and it connects right to a crosswalk on the road there. And then we'll probably put our bike racks over there so that they can park their bikes there out of the way. It's not a very big piece of property.
Right, just right here.
What is the building itself? I mean, I know
It was an old house.
an old house, you said?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's kind of funny, if you look, that old house was connected right to a commercial building, Pizza on the Run.
Yeah.
So it was quite tricky separating those two buildings. It was like doing surgery on a Siamese twins. I mean, it was pretty crazy, but we got it done. It's out of there now, and so you see that crosswalk right there?
Yes.
Right there. Yeah. Actually, that's changed now. There's a curb cut out right mid-square in the middle of that property. That crosswalk's further to the north or to the right as you're looking at your screen, about where your cursor is there.
Okay, right.
Yeah, right about there. There's a curb cut out there now, and that's where the crosswalk is. So we'll actually connect right into that crosswalk, which would be nice.
Okay.
Oh, there. It shows it there, yeah.
Yeah, no, this is sometimes when you look at Google Earth, the street images are a little bit delayed back, and I think, and this one shows this past summer. So.
Yeah. So you can see how we'll tap into a sidewalk right there, and it'll cut right through kitty corner and tie into a sidewalk. And that parking area will be all changed right there too with the new construction that we're doing and the demolition.
All right. Very good. Yeah, no, that's a good opportunity for you and able to do that.
Yeah. It'll help with safety, and quite frankly, the house was an eyesore, and it just, those cars coming in and out of our bus lane right there was not a good situation.
So moving on real quick then, property profiles. Everything, thank you for verifying that these are updated. And I did want to make one quick note. As soon as you're done with the, oh, actually I should ask, when are you expecting to be done with the cafeteria project?
Sometime this summer, June 1st is final completion, but then we have
phase one.
Then we have demo of the old.
The old, okay. All right, the reason I ask, so we're looking, we're having, excuse us one sec, we're having some audio issues on our end. We had bandwidth issues, I should say. We're gonna cut the video camera for us real quick. Try to preserve some bandwidth there. So anyways, the reason I asked is, so this fall, we're looking to have FBA come out and measure that piece of your building. And so I was curious of when that would that'd be done, and that way we could get them out there and get that taken care of, as well as to measure that the maintenance shop that we identified earlier.
All right, right.
So probably.
Yeah, I would think fall. I would think fall. Sometime this fall would be fine.
Okay, very good. I did fail to neglect to mention that John came in and joined us.
Hey, John, I hope you're feeling better.
Not much, but thanks for the sentiment.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to be making it up there this week or not. We'll play it by ear and see how things look tomorrow.
No problem.
All right.
I promise I didn't get him sick.
I'm not
But
blaming
if you're sitting close to him, he might get you sick.
Well, you don't want this.
Very good. All right, and you guys have reviewed your enhancements, and so this next one, Troy, I want you to go over this for your notes there.
Yeah, so basically, when you go and purchase something above and beyond the adequacy standards, or it wasn't approved by the commission, basically it's just an expenditure beyond what the state has an obligation for with regard to facilities. And so I think you need to just fill out an enhancement form and send it over to John, have him look at it, and then we'll report that expenditure.
Okay, that's no problem.
Okay, you know where the acknowledgement form is?
I do. I do.
Appreciate you doing that. Just formality.
Oh yeah, no biggie.
Thanks.
Very good. Okay, next we have your district appropriations update. So
There's really nothing to say here. I mean,
one's done and the other
one's
just
in motion, so we're good.
on motion, correct. So we'll make sure we get 1006 closed out. We failed to do that last year. 1006. Okay. All right, security. I will go ahead and turn this over to John to talk about.
I'm going to keep it brief and short and sweet, and then if you have any questions when I get done running through, kind of a synopsis of the security program, just let me know. In the 15-16 biennium, we were given $9 million by the legislature for security-related projects. In 15, we did assessments of all educational buildings in the state. And I think actually we did the assessment of all buildings, but we determined that 8 of the 20 elements could be addressed with $9 million on educational buildings only. If you look at the security report in AIM, you'll notice that they have notes related to each deficiency that was identified that kind of give you the intent of what the remedy was for that deficiency. And generally speaking, the purpose was to raise to a minimum standard all deficiencies and educational buildings across the state. So they identified those, they put a dollar amount to them, and that dollar amount was for the hard cost for the remedy itself. We've experienced that in some instances that dollar amount isn't quite sufficient to cover all the hard costs, and certainly none of the soft costs were calculated as a part of that remedy. So the legislature also made available 10% major maintenance funds from 1 year's allocation to supplement those. So if you've got a project that's security related, you can supplement with regular major maintenance as long as it qualifies for regular major maintenance. It has to be an existing system and has to be a system that qualifies. Software, for instance, does not. But if you have an instance where you don't have an existing system, or there's a component of that remedy that doesn't qualify for regular major maintenance, you can use the 10% major maintenance to augment that. As far as I know, I haven't heard otherwise, but I believe that there's a good possibility that they're going to make that 10% funding available for this year's allocation as well, but we'll have to wait to get final confirmation of that.
Right.
We wanted to ask for some additional funding to move down the list and cover some of the other components, some of the other elements. But because of the slow rollout of expenditures on the original $9 million, the legislature said no. You need to take care of some of the other things that we've already funded prior to us giving you any additional money. So we're just encouraging everybody to get this money expended and to address those deficiencies as quick as possible, so that the districts that have addressed the deficiencies and expended their funds are able to continue on and address others with future funding. There have been some districts that have been able to secure grants for security-related issues from Homeland Security to supplement some of their projects. I don't know much more about it than that, although if you have an interest in it and you're not aware of what that process looks like, I can get the names of some of the contacts of the districts that have been able to do it for you and put you in touch with them so that you can figure out exactly what was required and what they did in order to get it. Amber's made some of the contact information for Homeland Security available in this facility planning report, so that information is there as well if you need it. And then tomorrow we're having a follow-up to the, I think it was October security conference that we held. This one's going to be down in Riverton. Very interesting conference and very informational if it's something that you have an opportunity to attend. And if there's any seats available left, I would recommend it. But I'm not sure where they stand. I know they were filling up pretty quick. So Kay Watson's actually sponsoring it with Fremont County School District 24. But it is going to be in Riverton, and that information's on our website as well. If you haven't already heard about it and you want to look into it, that's where you can find the information. So with that being said, I know that Jason's already been able to get some of this security money authorized for the vestibule over at the high school, and I've been working with him on how to get some of the other deficiencies addressed and get some of this money expended. And other than that, I don't really have anything else to add. Do you have any questions for me?
I don't.
I don't either. I think we're good.
Okay. Very good. Thank you, John. So we'll go ahead and continue.
No, I'm not.
Sorry, I'm also typing notes in as well. Okay, so anyways, we'll go ahead and continue moving on here. And Brandon Finney did join us. So,
Hey, Brandon.
Hello.
How's it going?
Doing great, thank you.
all right. So we'll go ahead and move on to capacity for your district. And this is more for your information than anything. This is per the SFC methodology that was updated last June. And so right now, currently, your elementary school is about 83% full. Your high school is just under 50% full, and your middle school is at 54% full. So let's bring up your enrollment projections real quick here as well. And so when we go through these, we like to look at a couple things. And wow, stand that up over here. So first, we like to look over the last 10 years in terms of the kindergarten classes that have gone in. And an average of 62 kids over the last 10 years. You had a couple good peak years here in 2012 and 2013, and a little bit lower here this year, average. And looking over at your survival rates, actually see here that I do have, so we've been asked, we've seen this a couple times, the kindergarten to first grade transition. So in your district, do you keep kindergartners that aren't quite ready back, or do you have a developmental kindergarten or anything like that?
Yeah, the district traditionally has held back quite a few kids, and that practice is definitely waning. We don't do as much of that as we used to, but we used to hold back a lot of kindergartners, even first graders, sometimes second graders.
Okay, yeah. So when you go back, the trends are based off of 10 years of trailing data back to 2008, so you can see that.
That's interesting, Rick, as you say that. This is Troy. You look at the 2013 number, kindergartner 72, the next year 63, down in 2014 when they went first grade. And just as you said, you go to like the 14 and then 15, there was a loss of about, 6 students. But then it looked like 2 years ago, you guys pretty well started just advancing them. What was, just out of curiosity from an educational perspective, what kind of facilitated your decision on that?
Well, just when you look at the research on retention, it's not good. And so it's just really a philosophy I brought to the district. Just looking at the research. So we still will, like we have 3 kids we're considering that are currently in kindergarten retaining next year, but it used to be they could be old for their grade and big, and they would still retain them if they were behind in their academic skills. And now the criteria that we've more or less put in place is they got to be young for their grade, and there's got to be some developmental issues before we'll even consider holding them back. Other than that, we really try not to hold them back.
Thank you.
Thank you for explaining that. And then looking through your survival rates going through, you see, you maintain and gain pretty much down through, the grade is that in 8th grade, and even in your freshman year of high school, you see you've got a gain there of 100, typically gain about 6% of your students in your freshman year of high school. And then after that, the sophomore, junior years, we see a problem across the state where we see a lot of them off at that point. But talk a little bit about the.
It's tricky. It's kind of tricky in our area because, as you guys know, we have a number of students that live in Bighorn County School District number 1's boundaries that come here, and we get some kids that live here and go there, and it gets tricky because some of it's politics. It's how parents in Byron, for instance, how they feel about the Cali school system versus, you could have something happen with their town mayor race, and it impacts our numbers a little bit. So it's really kind of crazy.
Yeah, that's very true. Yes, I know. For example, I have have a couple families up there that I know of that send their kids, that live in Cali, that send their kids to Lovell. So you do know that. So what's the process for that? They have to sign a boundary waiver or?
There's an application process that they, you know, for out of district placement for what we call non-resident students that they have to go through. And I mean, we really take almost all of them that apply. There's a rare occasion when, you know, we get a kid that has a major disciplinary infraction on the record and maybe we won't take them. But that's rare. And sometimes we'll take them and say, look, we'll let you prove yourself for a semester on probation. And a lot of times those kids actually do better than you'd expect. So yeah, it's just kind of an interesting deal, you know, and it goes clear back to politics that happened between it. You know, it's back when Bighorn One made the decision to build the high school and the elementary school in Cali. That disenfranchised a lot of people that live in Byron because they don't have a school anymore. So many of those families opted to send their kids this direction, and we actually send a bus out there that we have a little slice of our school district that's within a couple of 100 feet of the city limits sign, and we send a bus out there and bring a bus full of kids here from Byron. So it's kind of an interesting practice. It's one of those things that was initiated before I got here, and I am not going to change it.
Very good.
Makes sense.
Yeah. And so, but overall, I mean, just continuing on, you know, thank you for that. It's always good to find out how that works because I know with a lot of those districts that are close up there, you wonder how the flow goes back to the students. So that's something that are very interesting in that area. So moving on real quick. This next piece is for your information more than anything. It's a statewide list. So every year, per policy 2013-20, we prioritize our capacity needs per high, which is above 100%, medium between 90 and 95%, or 95 and 100%, and low between 90 and 95% capacity. And so this is where we're at currently in the state. And so right now, just the big thing on our radar right now is looking at Rock Springs and looking what to do with their intermediate population, and intermediate options to remedy their capacity issues at the high school there at Rock Springs.
Yeah, man, they're really bulging at the seams, aren't they?
They are. So definitely one of those areas where they continue to grow. So, which surprised I think a lot of people on that one.
It's good to see that someplace in Wyoming right now.
Yes, that is true. All right. So this next,
I might add. You guys remember 2 years ago or so we had real concerns about our special education populations because at the time we were sitting at 24%, which was the highest in the state. Remember those conversations?
Yes.
So that's at our elementary school. You know, since that time, our numbers in special ed have come down quite substantially. I think as a district now, we went from 24%, we're down to about 17%. And those numbers are going in a good direction for our district. And so I'd say that we don't have those same concerns we had then now. So we're doing better in that arena. We still have some tough kids, but it's not what it was.
What's the reason for the decrease?
Well, I think there's a number of things. One, just again, it's just a different perspective on leadership and making sure that we are very tight with the guidelines, the rules and regulations for identifying kids with disabilities, and also when kids have shown growth, we're more likely to release them than we used to be.
Gotcha.
It used to really, honestly, it used to be once in, always in, and now once kids they show growth, we have pretty good regular education intervention systems in place that can pick those kids up and help them just right. And I think that's one reason too why our numbers have come down is that we're doing more on the regular ed side in our RTI process to provide interventions early for those kids, just to keep them out of special ed. So I think it's a combination of those two things, which makes sense, right? Fewer kids coming in and more kids exiting earlier. So.
Yep.
That's good. No, it's good to explain that to us, and always good for our information to know that.
Yeah.
Hey, Jason.
Well, and I appreciate you guys. You guys listened to us, and I thought you did due diligence on your part to help us when we were sitting there with 24% and we were having a hard time. And I know we went through some planning steps with you, and I appreciate that. But the conditions have just changed now, and I think our building suits our needs better now than it did then.
Hey, Jason, I want to backtrack just for a second. What month do you think that cafeteria or kitchen will be done, give or take?
Substantial completion is June 1st.
Oh, wow, June 1st, okay.
Yeah. So I think that FBA timeline for like August, September would be appropriate with that. So we'll have to look at that continually.
Look forward, we're going to be up there when?
So the commission meeting is scheduled for May 2nd and 3rd
In Lovell.
In their town,
in
yeah.
Lovell. Correct.
Okay, did you guys know that?
No, I haven't heard a thing about that.
Oh, how fun.
That's great. We'd love to host.
Hey, you guys better start preparing.
Apparently that won't come out, did it? Wow. So yes, as of right now, it's on our website. Even I think they have it listed as the 2nd and 3rd of May.
Hey, we'll just show up
May
as
what?
long as you're there.
Okay, so May, did you say 2nd
And 3rd.
and 3rd?
Oh
Second and
my,
third.
that is so funny.
Yes,
So,
I think after this SFC meeting, Doug was there supposed to be arranging that. But yes, that is it's on our calendar, and we'll talk about that right now, I guess, since we have it up. But so what they're looking to do, the business meeting on the afternoon of the 2nd, and then the work session, and then perhaps the business meeting on the morning of the 3rd. So I don't know. That's tentative at this point. But I think what will end up happening is Shelley will get in contact with you, Rick, and else.
so basically, to let you guys know why we're picking on you, we just started thinking, as we're going from a capitalization program to an asset preservation, we just thought it would be really good to go to schools and different districts across the state over the years and let you guys give us a tour of, one or two of your buildings, the commission, and kind of expose us to your world. And but we can talk a little bit more about that strategically, but that's kind of our objective. And then I think the commission would be really interested as well to see your new cafeteria project that was start out to be an emergency project to deal with structural issues and a little bit of new construction there. And I don't know, John, how you feel, but I think that high school, you guys did such a great job remodeling that.
It's a nice building.
That, between that, maybe a short elementary tour, but, we're just trying to give our commissioners the day-to-day perspective of, here's maybe some capital projects, but at the same time, this is what we do with major maintenance. And you guys can discuss that. But I think that would be, if we do have the 2-day, which we do scheduled, it'd be probably just like a 2-hour tour, some type of thing. And Rick, sometimes we get spoiled, depending on the district, they try to provide lunch maybe and just be a little bit of hospitality there. But I'll let you talk with Shelley on that. But anyway, and then just probably meet. I don't know what the best place. Didn't you guys remodel that? It wasn't a cafeteria. What was when you go in the high school, hang an immediate left? What is that room there?
Multi-purpose. With our multi-purpose room.
Okay, but anyway, do you guys think you would be able to maybe host us? And again, Shelley Lovato will be contacting you and start setting up the details. But just a meeting room where we could have some video access as well. We usually do a go-to meeting and kind of disperse out around the state for anybody that can't make it. What do you guys think?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. We'd be honored to host, and we'll definitely make sure we have everything lined up, and that'll be great. And we'd love for them to see the projects. I think it's really good that they're coming here. They can take a look at the remodel project, and I think it'd be good.
Okay, super. Well, thanks. Yeah, we get so busy and stuff, and we made these decisions. I think the commission made it, 3 months ago or so, give or take. So it's just a matter of us getting hold of you and letting you know we're going to come and invade you.
All right. Yeah, that sounds good.
Wonderful. We look forward to it.
Yeah. All right, very good. So this next piece is major maintenance calculations. Every year we get the question, how is our major maintenance payments calculated? What is our main drivers? And so this information is from last year's payment, and the ADM comes from the 2015-16 school year. But basically what we wanted to illustrate to districts are a couple things. So the first one, your ADM is your main driver, which gives you an allowable square footage. And so basically what that's saying is you're only getting paid for 157,000 square feet, and you have 222,000 square feet in your district. So that's the first thing that we talk about. This past summer, last year, we went in front of, we did a major maintenance study, which would have looked at increasing the RS means value for the replacement value for school buildings to $220 a square foot. And then looking to up the current replacement values on each building from 2% to 2.5%, which would have brought more major maintenance into the districts. And also computer, what was that? The
Computer maintenance management system.
Like a school dude or something of that nature that we would have looked to pay for at that point and get the state basically on one big network like that. And so with that, we tried to look at doing those things. Unfortunately, all those measures except for one, which was the 7-year phase-in, did not make it through. So that's one of the things we wanted to illustrate with this right here. And so looking at your note, I appreciate you getting that current ADM in there for you. And so one of the things we wanted to ask school districts is so for example, last year, Fremont 25 approached us about some of the issues they've been having with square footage within their district. And so one of the things we wanted to do this year is make sure we asked up front if there's anyone else that was interested in this kind of a study right now. We're actually currently conducting a study in Fremont 25 to help them out with that.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. It doesn't look like you guys, obviously you don't have some spare building sitting around, that's pretty well vacant, 90% of it. So we get that, but we just want to make sure we had an official, opportunity to ask districts. So it's just it really is just to show the disparity between what you guys are getting funded in major maintenance and what your actual square footage is. And we continue to work on that. And hopefully in the past, I think we were talking to, was that John Stott or
Jack
Stott the other day? We were talking to him, about we had multiple major maintenance requests, I guess, that went through the commission to the select committee and to increase major maintenance, and it kind of died in the select committee. And I think one of the challenges for us was maybe we didn't get districts quite as involved as we should have. And but anyway, how do you feel about that? I mean, I think you guys are pretty well in the future here in asset preservation, but are you guys in favor of maybe increased major maintenance funding down the road if available?
Yeah, I mean, definitely, because like you said, the situation we're in is, I mean, we've got buildings we know we're going to have for a long time. And, some of the reasons why we have more square footage is that we haven't built new buildings. We built a new high school, we would have decreased in square footage quite a bit. And that's just the way, I mean, we inherited the buildings we have. We have what we have. You look at our gym, for instance, and it's a lot bigger than what the model would build for a new gymnasium, but it's not like we can shrink it, right? But we still have to pay to maintain it, and it's expensive. And so, yeah, absolutely. I mean, we really, if we want to keep our buildings for the next 30 plus years, we've got to have more money to work with.
Well, if we continue on that road in some way, shape, or form, we'll probably reach out to you districts and get you maybe a little bit more involved to optimize our opportunities. And if we can be unified in our message to the legislature, maybe that'll go a little bit farther.
Yeah, I agree, and we'd be happy to do what we can do on our end to help with that.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, continuing on real quick then. Your district, no charter school for your district, and as of right now, no alternative education programs. Is that correct?
Correct.
That was the other condition. So FEA gave us this graphic a couple years ago, and it really just paints a picture for us. You know, the lifespan of the building, like you were talking about with your buildings. You got to look at what you can do to keep those buildings going, and how you preserve the life of those buildings. And so, basically, what this is telling us, though, is just, we're talking about the lifespan of the building, how much you have to put into it to be able to get the life out of it that you need. So, more than anything, that's an illustration of that, which leads to these FCI scores. So this is the first page of the FCI scores for the state. Currently right now, everything that's 0.4 and above is being addressed in some way, shape, or form in the current budget. Not sure how that budget's going to shake out at this point, but as of right now, they're addressed in some way, shape, or form those 0.4s and above.
Have you been following that all, guys?
What's that?
Rick, Jason, have you been following I know you probably have on the educational side. Have you been following the funding on the facility side at all?
Not as much this year, but yeah, I mean, I get the updates and I've been looking at them. So it sounds like there's still some things up in the air.
Yeah, and it's been a roller coaster. I mean, the House approved everything that the went through the Select Committee and the Joint Appropriations Committee, and then the Senate pretty well just eliminated majority of that. And now in negotiations, I think they brought most of it back, and it's just a really interesting adventure.
Yeah, and apparently on Wednesday they're going to reconvene to make some final calls on those last two bills. So we'll see how that impacts us.
Yeah. Yes, we will. I mean, overall, looking at your district as a whole for your buildings, and looking at the ages of the building, they're pretty good in shape. Especially, looking at Lovell Elementary School there, and where it's at. I mean, 1942. I mean, almost 76 years old. The building, and it's in pretty good shape. So that's a good thing for your district at this point. And so, really wanted to really quickly address your note here about the high school. So, it was remodeled in 2015. What year was the original building built?
62.
Is this getting phased in?
So that one I do not know. I have to look at the calculator.
Okay. Yep. I don't know if it would be or not. If you get a brand new building, there's a phase-in period for major maintenance. But
yeah,
it really doesn't matter here because I think they've approved to remove all phase-ins from this point forward.
Yes, that bill actually did pass. It was House Bill 33, so that's House Enrolled Act 18.
Yeah, and we just don't want that to be a misrepresentation because that building, I mean, the foundation, even the interior walls, at least 50% of our interior walls they were not even touched by the renovation. The frame, the roof was not touched during the renovation. Now, some of the mechanical and plumbing was, but much of it wasn't. And so really, I mean, if you had to put a percentage on it, the building is less than half new. I'd say it's 2/3 old, 1/3 new. And so it's not, I mean, this is still a 1962 building. And there's still going to be a lot of expense to maintain it. So it would be completely unfair to say, well, it's built in 2015. That's
Due to an approved bill through the legislature. So, yep, you're gonna get 100% major maintenance for that based on ADM.
okay. Thank you.
Yeah,
And I think we knew that. We just
Yep.
wanted to clarify.
you bet, no problem at all. It sounds to me like we were talking about bills this morning. It sounds to me like there's gonna be a little bit more stringent requirements on counting ADM.
Yeah.
What's,
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, and it's still, I mean, that one's teeter-tottering right now. It's hard to say where that's going to end up as far as what I've heard from the session. So,
Okay. But may have an effect. Are they going down to smaller increments to count instead of like half days or something? Or
well, actually, you know, it's funny because that's loosening, not tightening. They're going from an 80%. It used to be that if a kid was in your building for 80% of the school day, okay, let's go back. So I'm sorry. This is before last session. If a kid was in your building for a majority of the day, meaning over 50% of the day, you could get a full ADM for it. Okay. Then to tighten that up, they said we're going to go to an 80% threshold. If they got to be in your building 80% or more to be counted for a full ADM. Anything under 80%, then we're going to prorate it. So that tightened it up. Well, this year they're moving that 80% to 75%. So that actually loosens it a little bit. It doesn't tighten it. So if you have a kid that's in a work setting or they're in a release time situation that now is say 22% or 23% of the day, they're still going to get a full ADM under this change. So it's actually a loosening, not a tightening.
okay.
So your ADM should go up in theory a little bit, right?
It probably won't affect us because it affected release time, and our release time kids they still met that threshold here. It's just that in some places, like in Star Valley, for instance, they have they're on a block schedule. So when kids get out for release time, they're gone for 90 minutes, and that put them underneath that 80% threshold, and they couldn't get a full ADM for them. So I think this is flying because of Star Valley. Because in Star Valley, about 80% of their kids are released for religious studies. Does that make sense?
Gotcha.
So it really impacted them. But for us, we're not on a block schedule, so it doesn't impact us near as much.
Cool.
Cool, thank you. That's good to know for us, and certainly didn't know about ADM, that's for sure. All right, we'll keep moving on here. Thank you for the conversation on that. So let's move on to major maintenance real quick. This is the 680 balance from June 30 last year. Just gives us an overview of that. And then more for reporting anything, just kind of shows you where your major maintenance went for the last year. Next year, we're actually considering we have data back to 2007, and so we're looking to do over that time period what your priorities of the district was, and so we'll look to do that in the next facility plan template. Okay, so this graph we're looking at right here, is that just last year's money, or is that last year's money? Correct. This was finalized June 30, so this would have been July 1st, 16 to June 30 of last year. These were your plans. And you're going to take it back to 2007 at some point, right? Is that what you're saying? Yeah, exactly, to show you kind of the historical where a lot of your money went for major maintenance.
Yeah,
I'd be curious.
I think it'll be really interesting. But anyway, we're kind of playing with that one, and we just thought, it'd be kind of interesting for districts to see, because usually the same personnel aren't there that are there now that were there then. So we'll think about that one, but I think it'd be kind of interesting, just fun to see and see what overall what your priorities have been as a district.
Right. So then this is just a numerical breakdown of your priorities, showing what your priorities were for that last fiscal year, and then for building it down. All All right, so we're now getting to the low condition scores for your district. And, part of the asset preservation, everything we've looked at, is looking at your low condition scores. And you can see that a good portion of them are actually in their bus barn and in the storage building there on the ES campus. A couple in the Ag Lab, and then some at the middle school and some at the elementary school. And then, again, this is more just for our information and just gives us kind of a little bit of a snapshot to see where you guys are at in terms of your major maintenance balance for this coming year. So if all things hold true, you'll get roughly around the same amount that you got this year. And look, have about $750,000 in major maintenance heading forward. So Jason, I know that you and Amber did a lot of work on the front end on this, and thank you for helping us get this cleaned up. So one of the things that we work on continually is trying to make sure we keep our database cleaned up. And when you do these major maintenance work orders, sometimes some of them just get left in there and for years on end. And this is always a good exercise for us to keep everything up to date and make sure that we can continue to keep everything going the way it needs to go. And it also gives us an idea of where you guys are headed out for the next year. So before I talk about component projects, we have been asking every district this year, how do you guys prioritize your major maintenance? Do you guys have a committee, and then basically explain how you guys get to the major maintenance projects each year?
Well,
Do you want to? Or
no, first we try to start with all the ones and twos, and then address that, and then Rick can explain where we go after that.
Yeah, the other thing we do is we had Jason this year. He came to the administrative team meeting. We started that in January. Is that right? When you came down this year?
Yep.
So we're looking at prioritization for like our summer major maintenance, as well as moving forward with our plan here. Just getting input from our administrators, from our building principals, making sure that everybody's comfortable with the direction we're going. And that's the process that we take after Jason goes through and kind of does the front end work on his side.
Okay, I'm just recording this really quick for our comprising building principals.
I think we had Denise Harrison there too, our technology director. She's part of that process too. It's mostly our administrative team.
Sorry. Thank you. So really quick, let's talk about these components. So just more for a reminder for you guys, components are due in by the 15th of September. So that way we can work to get them prioritized this winter for the next biennium. Currently right now in this biennium, projects 1 through 16 are in the budget still as of right now.
Yep.
And so number 10, you guys are the 10th, number 10 right here on this. So we're looking, as of right now, it looks to be in play to be being funded.
And it's effective immediately. So you'd be able to start early, get going on pretty quick.
So is that effective on the governor's signature, right?
Yeah.
Has that already been authorized then?
Not yet. It's not that immediate, but it's pretty close. So I'm looking now. It says here effective immediately, and all it's waiting on is governor's signature.
Nice.
Yeah. So
Okay, that's good.
Hey, Jason, that'll probably give you something to do in your summer, huh?
Heck yeah. I was afraid I was going to be bored.
yeah. So just once you get started, you could go hire somebody to help design it and get the documents ready and get rolling.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's great.
We'll do that.
Oh, well, yeah, well, when do you think you'd start?
Oh, geez, as soon as I could. I mean, we're probably, if I got somebody next week to design, we'd probably be, I don't know, if they could start, go out to bid, maybe June.
Well, here's the deal on that one, because these are literally capital funds, correct?
Yeah, that's definitely what we do in the summer.
Yep. Okay, so Jason, because these are capital funds, you'll have to go through official state-sponsored procurement process.
Right, right.
So actually, to be honest with you, that in and of itself would take you.
It takes anywhere, we've done it in 8 weeks, anywhere from 8 to 12.
It's probably 3 months just to get the architect locked in, contracted.
Right.
As sad as that sounds, that'll push you pretty hard.
Well, so would it be better, in your opinion, then to do all that and then plan to get this done in a year from now?
Yeah.
What we don't want is we just don't want to be in a situation where even if we get into fall and we get those fall rainstorms and all that as we're trying to do a roof, you know,
Yeah.
with kids in the building, it just seems like it'd be smarter maybe if we wait. We do all the legwork up front, we get all the bids in whenever the optimum time is, and then we go a year from this June and get that thing done in the summertime. I mean, what do you guys think?
Yeah, the more methodical process is probably going to be smoother.
And
Instead of rushing, shooting from the hip.
it's kind
Because
of
we'll be okay for another school
Oh,
year,
yeah,
won't we?
yeah.
Okay, let's do that.
Most of my projects are less than $25,000 for professional services.
okay. So John's saying his voice is kind of gone, but what he's saying is design on this would probably be less than 25,000.
It's possible.
I would think so.
Yeah. So, and if that's the case, then you could probably move a lot quicker on it. If that's the case, and
Yeah, at that point.
would you recommend kind of starting to look maybe at some design professionals, seeing who would be interested in something like this?
Yeah, you can solicit proposals, and if it's less than 25, you don't have to go through the procurement process.
You don't need 3 though, or do you?
Well,
No.
no, not really.
Not if it's less than 25. So maybe put a filler out there and just see.
Okay.
I
can do
won't
that.
hurt.
That sounds good. So in that case, yeah. And then the only other thing probably that you might want to think about is just timing of bids. I mean, if you did have this design and you waited until late in the year, December or something, January, you probably the chances of getting better bids are probably better. Instead of you're rolling up to the beginning of the summer and then all of a sudden. But who knows? I mean, you could probably look and see when you could get it done and get it ready, and then maybe have a discussion with John a little bit and see what I mean. Maybe it is possible to do it in early fall or something when it's not torrential rains, and or maybe you guys will decide at that point to maybe hold that off and put it out on bid at an optimal time to maximize your opportunities for a good cost. Because
Yeah.
what if this goes over? Now, I think our bids have been coming in pretty good on roofs lately. So, but the risk for you pushing it out real quick, if you're not in optimal bidding time, then anything of an over, anything over that 648 is you'll have to supplement with your major maintenance. There are no other funds
Right.
available.
Right.
Well, let's do the legwork maybe and just see. Are you okay with that?
Oh, yeah.
And if we can hit it right, then let's do it. If we can't, we always have the option of pulling out and waiting. Yeah.
Just I guess
Yeah, we can do that.
they're putting in
Okay.
from the get.
We'll put some feelers out, see what we're looking at,
Yeah.
and then
Then
I'll
make a
do that.
decision.
I'll get with Don.
Cool.
Very good.
Meanwhile, I'll order another case of Flex Seal.
There you go.
There you go. All right.
Plan for the worst, hope for the best.
There you go.
There is the 1 through 16 again. You know, we're looking to be funded in this go around at this point in time. 17 through 37, we're not. So I know you did have a couple projects that were more towards the bottom of that. So that's where they ended up shaking out at this point. But you know, again, you can resubmit those as component projects for this next section, next go around. Excuse me. Wow. All right. So let's talk a little bit about the component project for the HVAC at your middle school.
Okay.
I just see that you have it noted here. So this, you know, as you know, going up here, HVAC has done well, and we've had a couple of them this year that went through, and then a couple more HVAC controls down here. Oh, here you go, roofing and cooling tower there at Big Piney. So, you know, that's always a good one, I think, to look at, to submit for a component project. They have traditionally done well, HVACs have, in the component process. What do you think to add to that, Troy? Or?
I don't know, Jason, I think you know the rules of the game and of engagement and, you know, how well you do on your component requests in communicating and just really clearly helping the committee understand will just help them prioritize those. So, but I think he's right, you know, and I don't know what all the issues are. You're talking about some membrane here and HVAC upgrade, but
Well, that's the high school roof as well.
Yeah.
Kind of makes notes in there. What are, I guess, for our edification, what is what's going on with the HVAC in the middle school?
Well, a lot of the unit vents we're having to patch together all the time. Boilers, we've had to do a lot of work on boilers and pumps, and basically, I mean, the system is all original for 1991. So we're getting there, and before we end up in a situation where we're having catastrophic failure and a building that won't heat, you know, I would expect it might sit on this component list for a year or two, maybe, but it'll never work its way up if I don't get it in there.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely, you can't win if you don't play.
No.
So absolutely, I think that's a good thing, and you know, that's good for you guys to look ahead of that. And I think that'll, you know, yeah, as we said earlier, just make sure that gets in before September 15th, and we'll make sure we get it up and get it in the prioritization process.
No problem.
All right, thank you. 2018 legislative review, Brandon, we'll go ahead and turn that over to you.
Okay. So let's see. There we go. So the main thing, there's several bills in there, but the main thing is this is approved, and all it has to do is get the signature from the governor. So that'll be successful. We just talked about, you know, get going, put some feelers out, and try to plan it out.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you.
And then on the supplemental budget, there's a section in there, go down a little more, talks about emergency or any modifications to a budget if you had a big project going on. I don't really see, you know, with your capacity and condition, I don't see any needs for any projects or emergencies out there for your district anyways.
You guys just took care of us well with the cafeteria and kitchen, so that's what we needed. Thank you.
So that brings us to the last portion of our facility planning meeting today, of the unique issues, ideas, and concerns. So if you have anything that you'd like to talk about that we didn't cover today, and I'll go ahead and turn that over to you.
I don't think so. I mean, John, you know that one of my big concerns is whether or not we're going to be able to use major maintenance to address that canopy in front of our elementary school. And, you know, the fire marshal's requiring us to replace that, I guess it's a glycol fire suppression system. And, you know, we just see it as far as timing and everything is, the common sense or the wise thing to do is to go ahead and tear that thing down now, since we're resurfacing and doing so much on the front side of that building. But of course, in its place, there has to be something. And so we're proposing a very much smaller canopy to the entry there that would just kind of tie in with the looks of the new cafeteria kitchen remodel and the resurfacing on the other side. That's just it. Is you know, if you guys can help out there, we just would really like to be able to utilize some major maintenance money. We got a bid from Synergy Construction that was half of, I believe, the next bid on that thing, and so we're going to do it for about 50 cents on the dollar of what it would be. And we had 4 other bids on that thing, and so you know, it's one of those things where we have to do it. I mean, we've got to take advantage of it and do it. It's just going to cause some hardship on us. You know, unlike all the other districts around the state, we spent our depreciation reserves down. We had $1 sitting in our depreciation reserves account 2 years ago, and then finally our district 2 years ago put $50,000 back in there. But that's all we have, and we don't have any other depreciation reserves. And so for us, if we're forced to use that 50, we're going to also have to throw some general fund money at it, which is going to be tough with our current financial predicament here. So to be able to use major maintenance on that thing, again, you know, it just would really help us out a lot. And I know that maybe there's got to be more reason than just the glycol system, but to me, it seems reason enough. I mean, it's a major overhaul if we got to fix that thing. We're gonna dump. Let's put it this way: we're gonna dump almost as much money to replace that system as it would cost us to demolition and build the new canopy. It's going to be about 6s. So the common sense thing to do would be to be able to utilize some major maintenance and get that thing done.
I can definitely have a conversation. Have we seen anything in regards to a structural analysis by CTA on that yet?
You know, Rhonda drafted another letter, but it's still focusing on the fire suppression and that. So I actually sent her back a note to address the structural issues that it has. And I don't know that Holly has been down again since, John. So that's kind of where we're at there, waiting on Holly, I think.
Gotcha. That would be the easiest fix for what you're looking for.
Yeah, it would. It's just that we're not sure we're going to find anything, and we sure don't want to stretch the truth on it. You know, it's just hard to say. I mean, they're
I
going to have
just
to
think
look at
Shelby
it.
wanted to see, you know, if we could address it in that regard before making a decision on major maintenance.
Yeah, I think the only thing that could be a possibility is what's happening underneath the surface of the ground there with the, you know, the post and the foundation, because there's actually a drain that runs right along those footings where the posts are, and you can see with the eye level there's a little deterioration of the concrete there, some rusting, bleeding into the concrete. So there could be a little upheaval. There could be some stuff there that we could use, but that, you know, we have to leave that to the structural engineer to make a judgment on it.
So anything else, staff?
No, good talking to you guys though.
Amber?
No, I'm good.
Sure.
Okay, we really look forward to going up there, getting a tour of your buildings, having the commission just see, you know, face to face, meet you guys, and we're really looking forward to that. And so again, Shelley will be probably contacting you here probably in the next 30 days to kind of work on those details.
Okay, that'd be great.
All
We'll
right.
have the hot dogs ready.
All right.
All right. Hey, but real quick, thank you guys for everything, and we do continue to look forward to working with you guys here in the future. And with that, thank you for your time, and we will talk to you soon.
All
Thank
right.
you, guys.
Thanks, guys. Yep. See ya.
All right.